Welcome to BOJTV Trending News. For top stories in local, regional and international news, along with sports and local weather forecast, I'm Carla. Coming up in your local trending news, JT President says meeting needed with Education Ministry to discuss a PEP scoring system. Government to consider limited importation of agricultural produce due to the effect of drought on the island. 3 firearms seized during ongoing operations in St. Andrew, and senior officers reassigned. Now for the details. President-elect of the Jamaica Teachers Association, JT Owen Speed, has accepted that a meeting needs to be arranged with the Ministry of Education to address some concerns regarding the primary exit profile PEP scaled score system. Mr. Speed has maintained that the scoring format is unacceptable as it is difficult to understand. His response follows a statement issued Thursday by the ministry rejecting his accusations about the PEP results. Among other things, Mr. Speed said the ministry engaged in a plot to cover up scores. He also accused the ministry of combining the performance task scores with those of the curriculum-based tests in order to hide marks. Mr. Speed says it is important that a wide-ranging discussion be held about matters affecting the education sector. At the same time, he said he viewed the ministry's response as a personal attack. The minister in response said it engaged in island-wide focus group discussions and workshops to share the new format and get feedback from parents and teachers. It said these took place in June 2016 throughout much of 2017 and reviewed in May this year. The Agriculture Minister will be evaluating the effects of a drought on the ground provisions to determine if it might be necessary to import supplies, with a particular emphasis on the needs of the tourism sector. The Jamaica Agricultural Society has told consumers to expect increased prices to produce as farmers continue to grapple with the prolonged dry conditions. Farmers have reportedly been losing many crops in the fields because of the water shortage. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Agriculture, J.C. Hutchinson, has said that attention will be placed on satisfying the needs of hotels. Nevertheless, he said only minimal importations will be considered. The St. Andrew Central Police seized 3 firearms during an operation in Constitutional Hill, St. Andrew early this morning. 2 men were also shot and injured during the incident. Reports are that about 6:30 a.m. police responded to reports of a group of heavily armed men carrying out robberies in the area. On their arrival, they were attacked by the gunmen. The lawmen returned fire and 2 men were shot and injured. They were taken to hospital for treatment. A 17-year-old boy for Clarendon addresses in police custody reportedly after he attempted to extort a medical doctor in St. Catherine. The Forepass police reported that shortly after 11 o'clock last Thursday morning, the teenager sent a message to the St. Catherine-based doctor demanding money. He allegedly issued threats if the money was not paid. The police were alerted and a digital forensic analysis was done which implicated the teen. He was then arrested and charged with demanding money by menace. He is to appear in the Clarendon Parish Court on Friday. The Police High Command has announced that several of the forces divisions will be headed by new commanders following the reassignment of 8 of the force's gazetted officers. Assistant Commissioner of Police ACP Calvin Allen and Gary Welch are to trade places, making the latter the new head of the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, while Calvin Allen will take up command of the Operations Branch. There are to be 2 new faces in Area 3 in Clarendon and St. Elizabeth. Senior Superintendent SSP Glenford Miller, who is presently at the helm of the St. Andrew North Division, will take up reins from SSP Vendolin Cameron Powell as head of the Clarendon Division. SSP Cameron Powell will take up her new position at the Services Branch. Meanwhile, Superintendent Samuel Morgan will leave the Services Branch and take over from Superintendent Catherine Lord as Commanding Officer for St. Elizabeth. Superintendent Lord's new assignment will see her serving at the Inspectorate of the Constabulary. Superintendent Leonard Brown moves from the Services Branch to the newly formed Technology Branch, while the St. Andrew North Division will have a new divisional head in the form of Superintendent Leighton Gray. Those are top stories making local trending news. Now join us for news from across the region, as well as our international story, sports and local weather forecast. In news from the region, Panama has sworn in Catalan Laurentino Cortizo as its new president in a 5-year term. The 66-year-old won an election 2 weeks ago that was the tightest in Panama's recent history, triumphing with only 31% of the votes as a candidate of the Democratic Revolutionary Party. Cortizo today officially replaced outgoing President Juan Carlos Varela. Cortizo inherits a slowing economy and growing frustration among Panamanians about official corruption. The economy grew at a rate of 3.7% in 2018, and unemployment reached 6%. U.S. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross was among the attendees, who also included the presidents of Colombia, Peru, Bolivia, and the Dominican Republic. In international news, a man and his young daughter who drowned trying to cross into Texas were laid to their final rest today, a week after a heartbreaking image of their bodies floating in the Rio Grande circled the globe. About 200 relatives and friends followed a hearse bearing the bodies of Oscar Martinez and his 23-month-old daughter Valeria inside La Bromilla, the municipal cemetery in southern San Salvador. The ceremony was private and journalists were not allowed access. Over in our sporting report, the United States edged into the CONCACAF Gold Cup semifinals with a 1-0 win over Curacao in Philadelphia on Sunday. Winston McKinney's first half header lifted USA past the Minions in their quarter-final clash at Lincoln Financial Field. The defending champions were comfortable for long periods, with McKinney getting on the end of a Christian Pulisic cross for the game's only goal. The result saw USA reaching the semi-finals of a tournament for the 10th straight time. USA will face Jamaica in a semi-final in Nashville on Wednesday, while Curacao can look forward to a CONCACAF Nations League starting in September. On our local weather forecast, a significant feature of high-pressure ridge across Jamaica. Additionally, there is a low-level jet stream across the central Caribbean. The high-pressure ridge will weaken briefly as a trough moves over Jamaica tomorrow. The forecast for this afternoon will see partly cloudy skies and windy conditions, with possible isolated showers across sections of western parishes. Mainly fair skies are expected for tonight. Maximum temperature expected for Kingston as well as Montego Bay is 34 and 35 degrees Celsius, respectively. That was BOJTV's trending news, your top local, regional and international stories, as well as sports report and weather forecast. Until next time, I'm Carla. Thanks for watching. Welcome to BOJTV Trending News for top stories in local, regional and international news, along with sports and local weather forecast. I'm Carla. Coming up in your local trending news. Tourism Minister warns Jamaicans against dangerous seaweed coming to our shores. Floyd Green launches a Southwest St. Elizabeth leg of greening of Jamaica. Mapen police probe attempted murder, arson, suicide in Clarendon. And PNP targeting 10 additional seats. Now the details. President of the Opposition People's National Party, Dr. Peter Phillips, has said that the party is focusing its energy on 10 additional seats in the next general election, which is constitutionally due by 2021. Dr. Phillips was speaking at the launch of his One PNP campaign at the Quarterly Auditorium in New Kingston on Thursday, ahead of the September 7 Leadership Challenge. Dr. Phillips, who took over the leadership of the party 2 years ago, is seeking to foil the challenge of Manchester Member of Parliament Peter Bunting. In speaking with the comrades, Dr. Phillips said our strategy is to hold the 29 seats that we have and to go for at least an additional 10 seats. We are going to organize a seat by seat, community by community, lane by lane, house by house, voter by voter to engage the citizens in the target seats to vote for the People's National Party. He said the PNP has recruited a fine team of candidates with a mixture of youth, energy, competence and experience required for victory. He also noted that for the past 2 years, he has been leading the team on the road and on the ground while listening to constituents. Dr. Phillips has said he has been in discussions with farmers, teachers, business people, community activists, nurses, doctors, workers, reasoning with them and hearing their issues so that their interests can be reflected in the new policy solutions. The PNP president said in 2 years he has ensured that more than 20 caretakers are on the ground in constituencies, headed the party's listening tour and Do Road program, added new blood to an additional vibrant Senate, oversaw a new slate of vice presidents and appointed both a new treasurer and president of the party's youth organization. The PNP leader said the party's policy and education commissions have been revitalized and that its Orange Army has been doing work in several communities. He informed that the party now has 6 national organizers and 4 new chairpersons at the regional level of the party.
BOJTV.